Good morning, my name's Tim.
I'm Jessica.
I'm Pat.
And here we're going to ask you a question, is it worth it? Because we're often faced here with that specific question. I want to ask you one thing, how important is the future to you guys and the reputation that you're going to receive from your family, your friends, and possibly your work colleagues one day? How important is the lives of others to you? Oftentimes we're faced with situations where we're either babysitting somebody, you deal with that on a day-to-day basis, or we're at a party with friends and we're asked to be that person to watch out for our friends. And how important is it for you to set a good example to your family, your friends, and your work colleagues? And how important is it for you to arrive home safe? Let's take that last question, because obviously all these questions we can implement them to any subject that we want. That last question, how important is it for you to arrive home safe? Clearly we're all going to answer in the safest, most efficient way possible. Now, all of us in this room are obviously probably 21 and above. We've all been to parties. I'm sure most of us here have lived on campus before. And on a Saturday night, I do realize that it could be quite boring. And we want to go out and socialize and have a good time. When that happens, we often try to coordinate how we're going to get a ride, whether it's a taxi, friend's going to drive us, or we'll walk up the street. And sometimes that may not always be the case when the night ends. It's very difficult to master. And we see this one big word called risk. And risks can take you in so many different levels. You have a job, an internship that you're entering, you're on Dean's List, being in a school, and you're going to take that big risk of not getting home safe. Whether you're going to get behind the wheel or you're going to get in a car where someone else has been behind the wheel before. I can relate to that. I was up the road in Mount Pleasant a couple years ago, and I coordinated to get back through a taxi, and that fell through. I got in a car where I didn't realize the girl was under the influence, and an officer came up to the window, and luck was on my side because he got called away. And I got out of that car, and I called a friend, and he came and got me. And that was the biggest risk I ever took. Could have ruined my job, my reputation here at school, my family and friends. So we do need to go back in the end and ask ourselves, how will we get home safe? What will make us put our foot down to say no to getting behind the wheel or getting into a car where someone else has been under the influence?
So is it worth it? On November 1st, 2013, 21-year-old Sean and his 19-year-old girlfriend Stacy were on their way home from a family Halloween party. On their way home, a drunk driver ran a red light. Their car was pushed in front of a semi-truck. Both Stacy and Sean were killed instantly. Right now. Sean and Stacy met that summer at my 4th of July party. After that party, they were practically inseparable. Sean was a great kid with a big heart and a big smile. Stacy was talented. She could take the simplest thing and turn it into the most beautiful picture through painting or photo. They both went to college together. Sean was a junior. Stacy was a freshman when their lives were tragically took by a man who decided to drive drunk. That man, he had no previous record of alcohol-related offenses. He seemed everything was going well for him. He had a wife, 2 kids, good job. Went out one night to drink with his friends, had a couple too many, decided it could never happen to me. Nothing bad could happen to him. Drove home, now he's facing 12 to 30 years in prison. He decided to drive drunk, now he's sitting there and he faces not being able to watch his kids grow up. His marriage was turned upside down in seconds. And he made the wrong risk, took a risk, failed him, and now he faces the consequences.
So, according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Association, 10,389 people passed away from drinking and driving. Nearly 300,000 people a year drive under the influence, and only 4,000 of them are actually arrested. On the other flip side of that, 1 million people, over 1 million people, get away with drinking and driving a year. They do it, they drink and drive, and they get away with it, and they will do it again because they can get away with it. But in the end, nearly 1/3 actually are repeat offenders. So there's 4,000 people that actually are caught. A third of them are going to be repeat offenders. And so, to sum it all up, drinking and driving is very bad. You don't want to do it. You can risk your own life, somebody else's life, and it's just not worth your time in jail or death. So another couple alternatives you could do. Uber, the new app that on your phone. You download it, and it's a taxi service. Or you can actually take a taxi anywhere that you want to go. It's a little bit on the more expensive side, but is the money, it's good to have, but the money is definitely worth your life than somebody else's life too. So you gotta take something else.
So always remember that last trait, that word risk. Is it really worth risking your own life, others, and all the good things that you have, that other people have helped you get to where you are today?